Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. After match day 15, Manchester United sit 13th in the Premier League on 19 points, and we are currently 8 points off the top four. Just a nice little afternoon reminder for you there that we are still absolutely crap. Now, the topics on the table today: Marcus Rashford to be sold, apparently. The United are putting him up for sale, and there is reasons as to why they're doing this. Some people might be happy about that. Some people might be sad. Some people might not give a shit completely. But Marcus Rashford is being put up for sale. That's coming from quite a few journalists. That's very interesting. We're going to dive into that. In fact, let me just put the topics on the screen for you for people who are on YouTube. So Rashford to be sold is a topic we're going to discuss. Ahmad's new contracts, they're making really good progress on that, which is great news. Fantastic. No sporting director to replace Dan Ashworth, which I also think is very interesting. Definitely want to kind of dive into that kind of element and dynamic. And then Edwin van der Saar has done an interview with Sky, talking about Ruben Amorim, talking about United as a club, talking about the whole structure. And I think there's a few gems in there, you know what I mean? So I want to touch on that as well. But before I dive into that, please do smash a like in the video and subscribe to the channel. So basically, the story on Marcus Rashford is Manchester United would sell Marcus Rashford at the latest by this summer and would already be open to top offers in the winter. The club acknowledge his development under Ruben Amorim, but consider him definitely not unsellable. One reason why Marcus Rashford's sale is being discussed is because if he was to leave United, it would free up critical points in the complicated financial fair play system, which would give United more room to manoeuvre in the transfer market. And just to add to that as well, obviously, he's an academy prospect. So anything you get from Marcus Rashford would be pure profit first and foremost. And you would obviously remove the wages as well, which when you talk about amortization or whatever you want to call it, I don't know the specifics about it. But when you remove the wages on top of that, that's a massive gap that you're freeing up there where you could bring players in. And I don't think there's many people who would argue that it's almost time at least. If you're not at the point where you're like, I want to sell him, you're at least close to it, where you get into it. Like, maybe give him one more season and he might just do it. I'm at a point where if you want to sell him, go and sell him. Because I think he's on, first and foremost, on £350,000 a week. Freeing those wages up. And that is a wage for a player of like Mo Salah or Kevin De Bruyne, or the best player in the Premier League. That's the kind of wages that they earn. That's the kind of wages that Salah would be asking for, let's say, for example. And he's not putting nowhere near the output or being as effective. Or is he even our talisman? He's very inconsistent. He's very hot and cold. So if you want to free up those wages and you want to bring in 60, 70 million pounds for him, if you can get that, I mean, I'm not sure what the market is out there. I don't know who will be looking for him. I don't know if PSG are still interested, let's say, for example, if they're still looking for that Mbappe replacement, which I know sounds outrageous, but you don't know what the market is like out there for him, and where Marcus will want to go himself and who's going to pay the wages that he's on. So that is a stumbling block straight off the bat. You just don't know where you can sell him to. But let's say we're living in a hypothetical world, and let's say we can get some money for him and we can, if we get 60, 70 million, let's say, I'll take it right now. Because if you want to be ruthless and you want to win things, I don't think, and it's, kind of a sad indictment of where we are, I don't think Manchester United ever win a Premier League with Marcus Rashford in the team. Or being a main player in that team. Because if evidence has shown us anything so far over the past 5, 6, 7, however long you want to go past it, is he can turn up in moments and he can have one really good season, but you guarantee the next season he's going to drop off the face of a cliff. His output is still okay. I mean, like some of his stats, I think he's just overtaken Eden Hazard for goals, for example. But it's nowhere near the level that you want it to be at. I mean, I hate comparing to others, but you have to do it when you're in the Premier League. Like, you want players like Saka who are consistently year in, year out. So this season so far, 4 goals, 1 assist, right? This is in the league. The season before, 7 goals, 2 assists. Not good enough. 17 goals, 5 assists. Okay, he's hit his peak. The season before that, 4 goals, 2 assists. But then 11 goals, 9 assists. 17, 7 assists. 10, 6, 7, 5, 5, 1, 5, 2. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has peaks. So 22, 23, and 2019 and 20. both really amazing seasons for him. You want to see him replicate that season in, season out. And I know people might be saying, well, that's a lot to ask, Nick. What are you talking about? That's the standard you should expect at Manchester United. It's as simple as that. We want players who are performing to that level. We want players who are consistently putting up those kind of numbers. I love him. Obviously, he's from the area. He's Manchester through and through. But how much does that sentiment mean when you see sometimes on the pitch when he's walking about, not putting, his hand, looking uninterested, like he's not bothered. So if he's not that interested on the pitch, I'm not interested on him being on the pitch and performing. I'm happy for him to be sold personally. I don't think it's going to be happening in January, which some people are talking about. I think they're probably more likely looking at the summer for a Rashford sale. But if they're open to it, I'm open to it personally. What do you think? What does everyone think? UTFR saying, have you listened to the Rio and Phil Jones chat on Rio's channel? He mentioned how the winning United attitude has gone. Marcus is 100% part of that losing culture. Yeah. I think the analogy that always gets used with Manchester United is it's like mould, basically. To remove the mould, you have to really get in the brick and mortar and just completely tear it down. And I think Rashford is one of those bricks. I think Luke Shaw's another one of those. I think Martial was for a very long time. Players who have been at the club for 7 to 10 years, who he questions how are they still there? One's either injured all the time, one's really hot and cold. One's like, well, if they have this guy or, if they have this new manager come in, look how well he's doing now. And no, you need someone through the wind, rain, sun, every format to be consistent through it if you want to succeed in football. And Rashford isn't that guy. He isn't that guy, and he never has been. If people are still looking at him as the talisman in our squad and the guy to save us, I mean, we're more doomed than I initially thought we was, to be honest with you. I think the new manager has players in head to sell in January. I think all the noise you're hearing coming out of Old Trafford at the minute about selling, about the financials, I mean, it's been pushed so much. I mean, me and Sam spoke last night about them cancelling the Christmas party and, laying off staff, cutting the disabled supporters fund, putting ticket price up to £6. Like, they are really scrooging at the minute. And I hope they are as ruthless with players. If this is the line that, like, okay, we're going to sell Marcus Rashford in the summer, okay, I'm on board with it. Let's go. He's not the only one, by the way. You need to get something for Anthony if you possibly can. He's on 200 grand a week. Conversations about Mason Mount. I love him as a player, but he's swallowing up a huge wage, and you paid a huge fee for him as well. So there's big question marks. And let's see how ruthless they actually are in the summer. If they're all just talk. Let's see how that plays out. Wazza also said he had no power to say anything as that gang would ridicule him. Rashford is part of the problem and he has to go. Yeah, I get it. 70 mil would be nice. PSG can finally get their star man. D saying Ratcliffe is a joke. Thank you to everyone who's live on TikTok. I am live on YouTube as well at the moment, so keep smashing those like buttons. Let's get more people involved in this conversation. And subscribe to the channel. We are getting closer and closer to 10,000 subs, which is amazing. And that's because of all you guys. So, genuinely, thank you for that. Let's talk about Amad Diallo. We'll spin it a little bit. Bit of positive news. We started off with the negative. So Manchester United are making progress on a new contract for Amad Diallo. Can only be good news. I think only Mo Salah and Bukayo Saka have got more assists than Amad this season. Obviously, they've played more games. I think Amad's only had 8 starts or something. And the majority of that output has come from wing-back. I know he got a couple of goals against Pauk under Rude and maybe, 1 assist or whatever against Leicester. But this new reformed role at wing-back under Ruben Amorim, he's proven to be an absolute menace in it. And when he's got space to operate, he can kill teams. So, I mean, I don't know why this contract situation wasn't on the agenda anyway. I don't know why he wasn't getting more minutes than he was, but he is someone certainly, if you're looking, towards the future, Amad, Kobe Mainu are absolute certified players that I want to keep there. Ugarte, Majraoui, Lenny Yoro is another one, but obviously you don't need to talk about his contract situation because he's only just signed for the club. So we've got him for 5 years anyway. You put Amad, tie him down, you're having these players, tied down almost until the prime, until they're starting to peacock. So can only be good news. Huge fan of Amad Diallo. One of the kind of bright sparks in this dark season so far. And he's the kind of player that you should be focusing on right now. In terms of putting your effort in, getting these contract talks, getting some, playing him week in, week out. Do you know what I'm saying? Bet you've not watched Euro more than 3 times. I watched Euro extensively when I did a scouting video for him when he was at Lille. So stop talking nonsense. Obviously, for United, we've only seen a couple of times because he got injured in pre-season. So it's hard to watch him more than 3 times because you literally haven't seen him more than 3 times, you know? Christopher Breen, Rashford up for sale, long overdue. To be honest, I think everyone as a collective has pretty much agreed, haven't they, with that? They're happy. Is there anyone who wouldn't sell Marcus Rashford right now? And if so, I'm not saying you're wrong, but put your opinions in why you would not sell him, why you would keep hold of him. Bertie's saying for 300k a week, he should be a starting player, and he's so far from that. It's crazy. A star player, sorry. Agreed. I remember calling this man deluded. He thought Man United got a challenge. I don't know if you heard about me or not. I definitely didn't think United were going to challenge for anything at all. Get him gone. That's from Red Army Life. Why would you buy Xerxes? Look, Xerxes is one that's going to take either. He's either going to end up becoming good and proving people wrong, or he's just going to stay how he is at the minute, be very hot and cold, have his odd moments. But ultimately, at the end of his time at Man United, people kind of reflect on that and they'll be like, yeah, didn't adapt to the Premier League at all. And I remember a lot of people's opinions, who I respect, by the way, talking about him, saying, I think he'll struggle to adapt to the Premier League. Really good analyst online. I think he'll struggle to adapt. I think he's a little bit slow. But from a technical standpoint, he's really, really good. So, I don't know. The jury's out on Zirk saying it. I'm going to judge too soon because he's been here 3 months. I'm going to give it a full season to really assess him, and then we'll see. We'll take it from there and see how it goes. I think people are very quick to jump on a player's back. You've seen sometimes it takes time to adapt. Man, players come in. You don't see. I mean, how long has it taken for Ahmad to get into the team and really start flourishing? People talk about him being sold last year and him eventually leaving the club. And do you know what I mean? So football's very fickle. It can change in a blink of an eye. Let's just see. I've liked certain things I've seen from him, but I don't like certain things as well. Fellaini's a better winger than Rashford. Martinez to go. I mean, Lisandro Martinez is another one. If we're going through players, I'm going to talk about the sporting director in a moment. But if I'm giving an honest assessment of Lisandro Martinez now, I think what we've done is when he come in and we saw how good he was on the ball, and the first season that he had, especially alongside Rafael Varane in the back four, I thought he was really good. I thought he was up there as one of the better centre-backs in the league. But what we do and what we have a habit of as United fans, we tend to overhype players a lot and just push them way more than where they're actually at. We see 1 or 2 good performances, and then for 3 or 4 months we'll talk about him being, Beckenbauer and comparing it to Maldini and these kind of things. With Lisandro Martinez, I think there was a case of that. The butcher from Amsterdam, look how well he's doing. And like I said, the first month or so, the 6 months, he was really, really good alongside Varane. But then as you go into the next kind of couple of seasons, you pick up a couple of injuries. The one against Sevilla was massive, doing his metatarsal. Then he had another setback, which can take 1 or 2% off you. And you don't help when you got fucking people like Expressions and Rants calling him Lord Farquaad and all these kind of things. I think in this system he's going to really, really struggle, and I keep saying this, and that's why when Luke Shaw came back, I was like, if he could stay fit, which is basically like if I win the lottery, I would prefer him there for his physicality profile. Lisandro Martinez, he is a bit small. He's not quick enough. You can get away with it if you're pretty rapid, but defending those wide channels, I don't think it suits him. Really, really. I love him on the ball. I think he's amazing. I love him as a character and as a personality. And I hope he does work out for him there. But if you're asking him the gun to my head right now, if he's going to be a prolific player in this system, I would say no. Personally. For me, Martinez will never be as good as pre-injury. Yeah, pre-injury, he was amazing. He was great. But yeah, Shaw is terrible, get rid. He's not a terrible player. He's got a terrible injury record. He's definitely not a terrible player. Red Ran Your Life says good sense. Appreciate it. Right, let's talk about the sporting director then, unless there's any comments for me to go through. It doesn't matter how many times we've watched Euro. The people that matter at United have watched him for 2 years. I think he'll be okay, Nick. I think he'll gradually fit that left centre-back role. He's young enough to be coached by Ruben. He's got a good attitude as well. I think he's young enough to be coached. I have no problem with that. It's you can't improve. I mean, you can't grow in height, can you? You can't grow in pace. And I watched like the Porto game, for example. He struggled with runners on that side. Really, really struggled. And I think it's going to be a consistent theme throughout. Maybe he will adapt, and hopefully, I hope he does. Because when you talk about the kind of characters that you want in the team, he is a warrior, and he is someone that you want to go into the trenches with 100%. But I think his profile, I just think he's going to struggle in that role. It is that season, isn't it, where everyone's got a fucking cold, man. And like, oh, man, I feel like my nose has been blocked for 3 weeks straight. It's well annoying. Anyway, we had some stuff coming out from Neil Custard last night. If you know Neil Custard as a journalist from The Sun, mostly talks utter nonsense, but it is news and we will report it and we will talk about it. So, this is what Neil Custard has put. Manchester United will not replace Dan Ashworth. The club have decided to ditch the role of sporting director. Dan Ashworth has caught the attention of Arsenal and they could offer him a swift return to football. So, we was talking about who's going to replace Dan Ashworth. Obviously, I mean, this is very early doors. The guy's literally just left yesterday. I think the news broke. So, we were discussing, will they kind of have a contingency plan? Will they bring someone else? There's people who admired Luis Campos, is it, at PSG. There's, I think, Atletico Madrid sporting directors admired. But according to Neil Custard, we're going to ditch that role. Maybe they'll promote from within. Maybe Wilcox will have a bit more responsibility. Maybe Vavell will have a bit more responsibility, and they'll kind of work it like that. Because what was being discussed with Dan Ashworth was too many cooks spoil the broth, and egos were clashing and da. So maybe removing that element, which I have no issue with that. Every time people are, whether it's setting a company up or you putting managers together, whatever it is, there's sometimes you're going to get clashes, you're going to get teething issues. It's about sorting that out and making it fluid and everyone's kind of working in cohesion. No issue with that whatsoever if they want to do that. The thing that'll happen, though, if this is true about the Arsenal news and the Arsenal situation, if Dan Ashworth ends up going there, which I don't necessarily been a fit, to be honest. I don't know. I don't see Dan Ashworth going there personally. But if he goes there and does really, really well, you can already see the stories being written and journalists. And, well, you know, they let him go and they had one of the best sporting directors in the country and da, and all that shit. You're like, oh, fucking hell, I can't be arsed with any of that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with him. I certainly don't think Dan Ashworth is going to make a decision like that and just go and move straight away. I mean, it'll be probably by the new year, he'll be looking at certain projects. And he won't want to dive into it anyway. I mean, he's been at United for, 4 months or something, and he's already gone. Like, his time at clubs is getting shorter and shorter. I think he was at West Brom for a couple of years, then at Brighton for a year and a half, then at Newcastle for a year, and then at Man United for 5 months. I mean, the guy, you look at his CV, it's getting shorter and shorter the times that he spent at the club. So, yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. Only Dan Ashworth knows, I suppose, isn't it? Maybe he'd suit the centre-back role better due to his range of passing and build-up ability. Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing him in there. I think with that centre-back role, obviously you're not defending wide channels, but you have to be quite good in it, you know, when balls are being played up top, you know, getting it away, pressing the man, being physical. I don't know. Maybe it'll suit that. But I just don't know. I'm looking at, I would prefer De Ligt there personally. I think De Ligt's been really, really good. I want Euro, De Ligt, Mazraoui. That's the best back three we can put together at the moment. Obviously, when you go into the market, you can change that. But as of now, that is what I would personally go with to get the best out of the back line. And then we can talk about it. Right, Edwin van der Sar has also done an interview with Sky Sports. I want to dive into a couple of quotes in there because I think, obviously, when it comes to knowledge, first and foremost, one, he's played for Man United, won a Champions League, won Premier Leagues with us, is considered a Man United legend, right? He's also been at Ajax, so he knows Erik ten Hag very well. He was the CEO there, I think, and I think Overmars was sporting director, or maybe it was the other way around. So when it comes to football in United, he knows what he's talking about. And he was talking about the restructure at the minute, everything that Ineos are doing. And he says, it's of the utmost importance that all things are connected. I experienced at Ajax also when one little thing is not working, it can have an effect down the line. And obviously United is still kind of jumbling things about trying to get it right and consistently. On Ruben Amorim said, I'm sure that discussion in contact with upper management will be there, but in the meantime, a manager needs to perform and needs to win games because the position where they are now is not great. Now they're going to play a new system. Of course, a manager probably wants to have 1 or 2 players coming in January. I think the most important thing is to have the line with the technical director. Again, to have that kind of cohesion. Now, who that is now, I mean, it's... I know he's got a close relationship with Jason Wilcox. I know Manuel Ugarte was a player that Jason Wilcox really, really wanted. So, again, based on evidence and players that he's interested in and players that he's brought in, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together. You think Amorim's come in, Ugarte's come in, they have a way that they want to go and they have a system that they want to work with. And that's fine. Let's stick to that way now and let's stick to that system and line of recruitment and start bringing in players for that role. I think heading into January, I don't think they're going to spend any money. I think they'll do a loan maximum because you're already hearing stuff coming out from Man United that, we're not going to have any money in January, it's going to be tight, I don't think we'll do much business, which you hear the same line in December, year in, year out. So I kind of expected that. But looking into the summer, you need to go and sign a left-sided centre-half. I think you need a wing-back, a left wing-back. I think you need probably an attacking player and then a striker, for me personally. But again, sales and everything's going to come into that. It all depends how you do on that. And obviously, if we don't get Europe, which is looking like we're not going to get Europe, then that hinders the transfer kitty as it was as well. So you're going to have to box clever. You're going to have to bring in young players, potentially, like young talents for... I don't know how they're going to work it. But yeah, if you're going to go down this route, I think... your recruitment has to be spot on. That's one of the biggest things in football. Your recruitment really is. Edwin van der Sar and Ruben Amorim. Time is always a nice thing to have, but at a certain point, you have to have results. I'm sure those results will come. I think the club has tremendous support through the whole world. They've signed enough players, and at a certain point, you have to also stop chopping left and right. You speak about the fixtures there coming up. I don't know. Did I put it in there? I'll try to put it on the screen now. We've got such a tough run in December. It's absolutely outrageous. Can I find it? Is it on here? I think it's on my phone, actually. Oh, no, I've got it. Right, I'll put it on the screen. Obviously, people on TikTok, you won't be able to see it. So if you want to hop over onto YouTube and join the community, then you're more than welcome to. The links in the bio. But I'll run through the fixtures vocally anyway. Let me just put this on here because this is... So this is, I think, just the league games that we've got coming up. Let me just crop that if I can. Thank you. There we go. So that's what we're looking at over the next couple of weeks. I don't know if you can see that or not. But we've got Manchester City. So we've got Victoria Pleasers obviously on Thursday, but this is just speaking purely about the league goals. We've got the Manchester Derby, which I'm going into that, and I'm like, my emotions are all over the place with that. Because I'm like, maybe you can get something the way City have been at the moment. They drop points to Palace. I mean, look at the teams that are dropping points to. Surely United can get a point against City. Or does everyone feel everyone feel like, nah, no chance? At the Etihad, don't see it. I don't know. I'm in two minds with that. But then Tottenham away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at Anfield, Arsenal away again in the FA Cup. Wolves away, where we always struggle at Molineux. That it's just been a bogey stadium for a long, long time. And I'm like, where the fuck are the points coming from that? Where are the points coming from that? Genuinely. I think Man City's going to struggle. I think Newcastle at home. I know Newcastle's away form hasn't been the best. Maybe get a draw out of that. Tottenham away. Again, Tottenham have beaten Man City. They've beaten Aston Villa. They went 2-0 up against Chelsea, but bottled it. They lost to Palace, lost to all the... So, I don't know. I feel like the Premier League this season has been one of the maddest things to watch ever. Teams have been like yo-yos all over the place. Unfortunately for us, we've just been one way and just been down. But teams are just like, you don't know what to expect from them. Arsenal away, as we've already seen at the Emirates, is just not a nice watch. I think we'll get probably a similar performance against Man City when we go to the Etihad. I don't know, man. I look at those fixtures and I'm like, Ruben Amorim literally said in his press conference, didn't he, that expect a storm. This is the storm that he's alluding to right here. This is the storm. If we get relegated, all the poison rats of players will jump ship. We can't beat City if the players keep playing the way they are. I agree. I agree. I think a lot of people feel the same way. I think we're going to struggle, man. I really, really do. And the only shining light, and this sounds really defeatist, and I don't mean to be like that, but the only shining light I feel at the moment is Europa League. I think if you're gonna struggle in the league and you're gonna finish mid-table by the looks of it, let's do something in Europa League. Let's try and cook something up, because I think with the level of squad that you have, the level of players, I think you should be one of the favourites for the Europa League. You know, Tottenham are in there as one of the favourites. Roma are doing shit this year. You know, we should be one of the best. We should get in far in that competition. Let's have a look at some of the best teams in there. I think Ajax will. Lazio at the top. Tells you everything. I think they're like 7th in Serie A. Athletic Bilbao, Frankfurt, Galatasaray are the top 4 in the Europa League at the minute. Literally, Tottenham, Sociedad, Roma, Porto, like all these teams. Nice are in it. I completely forgot about that. Jesus Christ, they've not even won one game in Europe. United should be going to win that. So if you're gonna sneak into the Champions League, maybe that's one route that you look at potentially. I don't know. Maybe I'm clutching at straws there, but that's something that I'm looking at. I'm like, maybe put your eggs in that basket if you're gonna put your eggs in any. For me personally, but yeah, look, we're gonna do the Victoria Pleasant preview at 7 o'clock tonight. Me, Sam, and I think one more person could potentially be on it as well. So if you want to come and join us for that over on YouTube, the link is in the bio on TikTok. Obviously, you guys are already live on YouTube, so you know where it's at. We're on 8,897 subscribers. So if there is anyone new and you enjoy football content and you want something to listen to every single day, there's 2 lives a day plus other kind of content, interviews, etc. Hit that subscribe button, smash a like on the video for us, and we'll see you for the preview later on, guys, yeah? Appreciate it.